another top story out there. National Grid customers will likely start paying more for electricity in the next few months, but not as much as previously feared. Good evening, I'm Scott Levin.
And I'm Mary Alice Demler. This comes after an agreement was hammered out between the utility and the state's Public Service Commission on a proposed rate hike. Channel 2's Dave McKinley is breaking down the numbers for us tonight.
Last April, when it first proposed the rate hike, National Grid sought to increase rates for electricity by more than $11 a month for the average customer, effective this spring and for the next 3 years. Instead, the average rate will increase by about $8.50 a month in year 2020.
It is less, yeah, quite a bit less.
About 25% less than what it originally asked, and instead of all at once, it will be phased in over the course of 3 years, according to National Grid spokesman Steve Brady.
It mitigates sort of that sticker shock that you would get in a one-year case. It spreads it out a little bit.
What that means is, subject to final approval by the State Public Service Commission, the electricity bill for an average user would go up a little more than $2 a month starting in April and rise a bit more than that in 2 subsequent years. One thing that has been consistent throughout all of this, though, was National Grid's claim that a rate hike was needed to raise $2.5 billion to allow it to improve its aging infrastructure.
Everything from new poles, transformers, wires, new equipment for our crews to use, and that's still our goal going forward.
So what changed between last April and now, which would allow them to do all that with a smaller rate hike? Brady says you only need to look back about 1 month and 300 miles southeast of here for the answer to that question.
The federal tax changes significant impact for a business like ours.
Utilities pass the cost of their taxes on to customers. The tax reforms significantly reduce the corporate tax rate. So that which has been credited for the decision by some companies to increase employee wages and or provide bonuses also played a big role in reducing the amount of this rate hike.
So we were able to reduce the ask because going forward we won't be collecting revenues to pay a 35% tax burden. We'll only be paying a 21% tax burden. So that benefit, about $76 million in that first year, accrues right to customers.
That still means, though, in that just 2 years, customers on average will be paying $100 more per year for electricity. That is why part of the agreement also boosts a fund used to help low-income customers whose bills might actually be lower next year. Now, this is also not set in stone by any means. The PSC still has to give final approval and could change the terms, although National Grid does not expect it to. Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.